From tense nuclear talks in the Middle East to soaring egg prices at home, today's stories span the globe and hit close to home. With new laws shaking up voting rights, school lunches, and AI-powered call centers, and a G20 boycott looming, this is your essential update on the headlines that matter most right now. The United States and Iran are heading back to the negotiation table next week, following what both countries described as a constructive meeting in Oman. The talks, largely indirect, were mediated by Omani Foreign Minister Saeed Badr al-Busaidi. Delegates from Washington and Tehran met in separate rooms, exchanging messages through the mediator. But the session ended with a rare face-to-face moment between U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi. This marks a turning point in a tense standoff. Western intelligence agencies believe Iran is inching dangerously close to nuclear weapons capability. In recent weeks, President Trump has issued stark warnings, demanding Iran fully dismantle its nuclear program or face military strikes. Meanwhile, the U.S. has ramped up regional air defenses, while Iran has repositioned surface-to-air missile batteries and threatened to expel nuclear watchdog inspectors. Despite that, both sides now say they're willing to pursue a deal. Araghchi called the goal a just and respectful agreement, while the White House labeled the talks a step forward. A follow-up round is already set for next Saturday. But not everyone is optimistic. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, fresh from his meeting with President Trump, insists any future agreement must mirror Libya's 2003 disarmament deal, full nuclear dismantlement under U.S. oversight. Anything less, he warned, would mean war. Back in Washington, the House has passed a controversial new voting bill. The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, or SAVE Act, requires proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. It passed narrowly, 220 to 208, with all Republicans and 4 Democrats voting in favor. Supporters argue the measure strengthens election integrity. Congressman Chip Roy, a sponsor, says it will help restore trust in democracy. Critics, however, warn it targets a problem that's virtually non-existent. Non-citizen voting has been illegal since 1996, and research shows it happens at an extremely rare rate, only 30 suspected cases among more than 23 million votes. Opponents say the bill could disenfranchise millions of Americans, especially those without passports or easy access to documentation. In Kansas and Arizona, similar laws have already caused major issues, leaving tens of thousands of voter registrations in limbo. And while the bill passed the House, it faces an uphill battle in the Senate, where Democrats are likely to block it. President Trump, however, has declared it a legislative priority. Meanwhile, inflation at the grocery store isn't done with us yet. Egg prices in the U.S. have spiked again, hitting a record $6.23 per dozen in March, just in time for Easter. That's despite falling wholesale costs and no new bird flu outbreaks. President Trump celebrated what he called progress on pricing, telling reporters there are now lots of eggs and they are much cheaper. But economists caution that the wholesale drop hasn't yet reached store shelves. The supply of hens is improving, but still lags behind pre-outbreak levels. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins compared Easter to the Super Bowl of eggs and predicted some price relief after the holiday. But in the meantime, prices vary widely, from over $6 a dozen in California to just under $5 in Nebraska. Cal-Maine Foods, the nation's largest egg supplier, posted more than $500 million in quarterly profits and confirmed they're under investigation for price fixing. With real eggs still expensive, sales of plastic egg kits have jumped 20% at major craft retailers. In Mexico, junk food is officially off the school menu. A sweeping new law bans high sugar, high fat, and high salt processed foods in all schools. Instead, students will be served healthier options, like bean tacos and plain water. The law also bans any food or drink with black warning labels, part of Mexico's packaging system that flags unhealthy ingredients. Public Health Secretary Mario Delgado says promoting healthy living is now a core part of the country's education system. Parents appear to be on board. One mother said she's relieved that future school events will offer fruit and vegetables instead of candy. Mexico has one of the highest rates of childhood obesity in Latin America. According to UNICEF, nearly a third of children are overweight, and 40% of their daily calories come from ultra-processed foods. Schools that fail to comply with the new law could face fines of over $5,000, though enforcement may be difficult in underserved areas. In Panama City, a rare diplomatic moment. The U.S. has reaffirmed Panama's sovereignty over the Panama Canal. That announcement followed high-level meetings between Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Panamanian leaders. Hegseth said the U.S. fully respects Panama's control of the canal and emphasized efforts to counter Chinese influence in the region. Panama recently exited China's Belt and Road Initiative and is now aligning more closely with the United States. President José Raúl Mulino confirmed expanded military cooperation, though Panama has rejected any permanent U.S. bases. In tech news, Teleperformance, the world's largest call center operator, is using AI to alter the voices of Indian customer service agents. The technology, developed by California-based startup Sanas, changes their accents in real time to sound more American, while removing background noise. The company says the goal is to improve clarity and reduce friction in customer interactions. Teleperformance has invested $13 million in the tech and holds exclusive resale rights. While the company hasn't said which clients are using the tool, its customers include Apple, Samsung, and ByteDance. And speaking of AI, Google has just released Agent Space, a new platform for managing multiple AI agents in real-world workflows. It allows different agents to communicate and collaborate across systems using a new protocol called agent-to-agent. Developers can link agents to live data and coordinate their actions in real time. Google has also launched an open-source development kit, making it possible to build a fully functional agent system with as little as 100 lines of code. Elsewhere, President Trump has exempted smartphones and laptops from the latest round of tariffs, shielding companies like Apple and Samsung from steep duties. U.S. Customs and Border Protection confirmed the exemptions, which prevent these electronics from being hit with 145% tariffs on Chinese goods. Analysts say this gives much-needed breathing room to the tech sector. But tensions are heating up elsewhere. Trump is threatening to boycott the upcoming G20 summit in South Africa, accusing the country of enabling land confiscations and alleged genocide against white farmers. The U.S. has already frozen financial aid to South Africa and suspended contributions. In Bangladesh, roughly 100,000 protesters took to the streets of Dhaka this weekend to condemn Israeli actions in Gaza. The rally, supported by the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, featured chants of Free Palestine and imagery of President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu being beaten with sandals. Bangladesh does not maintain diplomatic ties with Israel, and demonstrators called for an immediate ceasefire and accused Israel of widespread human rights violations. And finally, a water crisis is testing diplomacy between the U.S. and Mexico. Mexico has announced plans to deliver over 120,000 acre-feet of water to Texas farmers under the 1944 Water Treaty, with possible additional shipments under review. The move comes after U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins publicly criticized Mexico for failing to meet its obligations. President Trump called the situation very unfair to American farmers and threatened tariffs and sanctions if progress isn't made. Talks are ongoing, with both sides describing recent discussions as productive. That's all for tonight's news update. Thank you for joining us. We'll continue to monitor these stories and bring you the latest developments. Stay safe, stay informed, and have a good night. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update.